Good morning, Jerry here. Hey, I've been asked by several people, what do you do if your strainers are gummed up and don't want to work right and having a heck of a time adjusting it and everything? Well, I took it. This is my strainer off of a 1961 Dynasonic that I got, um, and what I did this morning is I taken this off the drum already, and I took this soapy water and brush, and then I went over it and got all that dried out grease that has been laying in there for 52, 53 years, uh, and then dried off real good. And a lot of times that's what makes that handle not want to move back and forth is because of the grease is too thick in there and dried. And same way with the handle. You see this handle here has some grease on it, and you want to make sure that little bearing in there is moving back and forth. You take a little brush and just kind of clean that up a little bit before you get that grease off of there, and then wipe her down to make sure she's dry. Same way with the screw and the slide. The slide, however, is permanently attached by the screw. I don't know if you can see it, but back when we built these here, we put solder on the end of the screw so it wouldn't back out. You wouldn't have a mess when it and didn't know what was wrong. But and then this is one of the early strainers because you see this notch in here. That notch was added on at a later date. Um, so I don't mean that. This notch, that notch is a later date. Looks like they opened it up more. This might not be the original strainer. Um, but if you notice, if you turn this in here all the way down, it stops before it touches the bottom, okay? Now, what's happening on this new ones, I noticed I was readjusting and working on a Dynasonic the other day, and it bottomed out, and it shouldn't do that. It shouldn't do that. I think on the new ones, and I'm going to show you here in a little bit, we'll tear this one down I got a couple of years ago, one of the first ones built. We'll tear it down and see how long that screw is. A little bit of grease in there, I'll take care of that. So, let me clean this up a little bit. Same way with the plate here. I also checked why I had the drum taken apart. Also checked my framework. Make sure that the wire is sitting flat on the bridge on both ends, and it's not up where you can see light. You can hold it up there. There's just a little bit of light on that corner, but I don't think that's right on the tip, so I don't think that's going to hurt anything. If you hold this up through a window and look over like I am right there, you can just about tell whether it's up or not. Make sure the screw turns good. You know, this little thing down in here, this little nut, you want to make sure that that thing is moving back and forth. And if it's not, it's binding up in there, then you want to take a real thin file and take this part and go in there, and it's got to be a real thin file, and kind of go over that slide in there on the inside, make that a little bit smoother so it'll open up a little bit better. Like I said, now that we got this all apart, I got some little grease here I use. I put a little bit on the slides here, and I'm sure in the next few years it'll dry out again, and we'll have to Now you want to put a little bit of grease on the slide. You want to put it on both the bottom and the side like this. Kind of rub it in a little bit so you don't get a big lump there. And then put some on the bottom on here too. See this? Because that's where your handle slides back and forth on. So your handle fits in there like that, and it slides back and forth. See how free that is now? It was kind of gummy. And then you go and you put your slide back in there. And I think I'm going to put a little grease on this here. You can't take this off to get any grease really on there. I think maybe if I turn this all the way down, I can get some grease in there. Or turn it up, I mean. But, yeah, I know I've had a lot of strainers that I had to rework because it was gummed up so bad. And that's the problem with most of the strainers. When you say, oh, the strainer won't work back and forth, I got to get a new strainer. Well, most of the time it's gummed up so bad that, and I've really seen it gummed up bad. So if you put a little bit of grease in here, and I'll turn this around after I do this, just up here on the edges, and then just roll your screw down, and that'll move that grease down on that slide. Probably wouldn't hurt to put a little slide on the edge here. It don't take much. You don't need to really cake it in there, because if you do, it's gonna dry out fast, and it's gonna gum up on you again. I put a little bit of screw down here on the screw down here, and turn it up and down. But yeah, that's all you need to do is just clean it up. Use a little bit of soap and water, and I use this brush to clean the old stuff up. Put a little bit of grease there on your top of your screw there, so that'll move back and forth freely. Now you're ready to put this thing back together, and as you can see, it's not that hard. You just put the handle back up on that. Make sure you got the slide in here like this. You should take the bottom plate off of that. It makes it a lot easier. That's all you do is you put it in there like that, and then you can see how easy that is now, see? Then you take your plate, you put your plate back on. And I got my screws right here. Since we're quarantined here in Covington, state of Ohio, as of last evening, everything's been shut completely down. People aren't allowed out, only to go to work or go to the grocery store. Other than that, you're not allowed out running around. You will be arrested, and you can be either go to jail. It all depends on what you're doing, or you get a big old stiff fine. So I thought, well, this would be a good time to make a video of this. This thing ain't going in very good. So you gotta be careful when you don't strip these things out. But that screw on this one here is brass. He later came out with a regular steel handle. We'll make sure that's down flat. Wait, with this side here, this one here needs to go down just a little bit more. I don't know why that's so tough. That's good there. And you want to make sure, look at that. Smooth as butter on bread. Anyhow, so now you got that all down and on your old Dynasonic. And then on the new Dynasonic, I found a couple, and they might have corrected this because this is one of the first Dynasonics they came out with, and it was specially made for me. I found a couple things I didn't care for, but I tell you what, it's a nice looking drum. I love that inside. And the initials in here is BD and SL. So could that be old Bill? Did he put that back together? Or put this together? This knob here will not turn either way. So I'm going to have to fix that. And that's, I've never played this drum, so. And then I wanted to show you on this, that when you release that, see how that hits, it hits the guard down there. And you can adjust that, but if you do, it's still pretty daggone close. See that? It's still. So, we're going to tear this apart, and I'm pretty sure I know what the problem is. Because I had it last week when I was tuning the drum for a guy, and he had parts from an old Dynasonic. Here's another thing I don't care for either. These screw heads here. Excuse me. The screw here, the key won't, my keys won't fit on them very good. I don't know, maybe they got a special key out of it. But, see that, at least end up some more. Excuse me. Alright, this has got a Phillips head screws on it instead of the regular slotted heads like we used to use. I'm going to take this off. Good thing it's got a clear head in there, you can see right through there. Sorry it's taking so long. Probably won't be able to watch the whole video. I don't know. Alright, now. Still don't have that thing loose enough to get that wire out of there. That seems to be the problem here. I know, never tore down the new Dynasonics. A lot of people like them. I mean, you know, they what I've seen and heard of them, they sound really good. They're a beautiful looking drum. Did a good job on that. All right, there we go. So, we'll move that over to the side without knocking it off the table. Put these screws up here. Okay, here we go. We're going to tear this down. Okay, see now this in here doesn't have any grease in it at all. None at all. Now, what I'm talking about is seeing how the screw bottoms out. I think that's the problem. I think the screws are too long. That's a lot longer than the ones. Oh, I should have left that in there, but anyhow. I don't know if we can tell or not, but you hold that up there. Oh yeah, that's, if you hold that up there, you can see that this screw is a lot longer. You see the little gap right here? Okay. So what that needs to be done, really, it needs to be cut off. But I'm not going to do it. See, they don't even have a soldering on the threads there where it wouldn't come all the way out either. But yeah, I'm just going to put this back the way it was. But I think that's the problem. Is the screw's too long. When you're trying to adjust it, it's coming down and hitting your guard, or the one the other day I had was hitting the rim right here on this side here. And so I'll put a little grease in that, which they didn't have, and I'll put this back together. And I hope that helps you. I'm going to have to tear this here apart and see why it doesn't turn. But I don't never use a muffler anyhow. But I've never played this drum, so hopefully, they've come up and fixed that problem. And they also, on the new strainers, I hope they cut that off just a little bit more. It won't take much, just so it doesn't bottom out. So, yeah, so that's the problem they got. Okay, hey, thanks a lot for listening to me. I hope that helps you out. You got these old Dynasonic, and even the ones that they're putting on the power tones too. They probably need to be tore down also. So if you got a power tone or anything else that's got a clock face Rogers strainer on it, why it needs to be, especially if it's old, if it's in the 60s, it needs to be tore down and clean. So have a good day, have a safe day, and I hope that we can get this virus situation taken care of so we can get back on the road and have our drum show. We had to cancel our drum show for next month, and I was all set up and ready to go to that. And I know I seen this morning that the Chicago show is being canceled until next year. So there you go. We got a free year to come up with new ideas and new drums, and so hopefully we can take care of this virus pretty quickly. All right, thank you.